Breaking tonight on the Kelly File, plunging poll numbers for the president as the fallout from the shutdown showdown gets worse. Plus, Washington scrambling today to find a solution to the story that was first on the Kelly File. Families of soldiers killed in combat not getting paid the death benefits they were promised. The question tonight:
why won't you tell us what day he learned? Was it yesterday, the day before?
Ed Henry, Britt Hume, and Karl Rove on the search for answers to that. Plus,
you're under oath. Have you been consorting with the devil?
Consorting with the devil? Why did one lawmaker decide to try out his comedy routine as Congress got its first chance to question one of the top bosses at the heart of the IRS scandal? We'll ask Dr. Ben Carson if he's laughing after the tax agency targeted him. Plus, a guy takes out a gun in a large crowd of people and no one notices. All too glued to their cell phones. Really? A story you must see tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. Breaking tonight on the Kelly File, a new search for answers from the White House on a story that we first brought you last night. Exactly when and how did President Obama learn that the families of dozens of our fallen troops were being denied so-called death benefits because they died after this government shutdown hit? Now, these benefits are meant to help the grieving families bury their loved ones, including these 5 American heroes who died in Afghanistan over the weekend. Earlier today, our chief White House correspondent tried to get answers from White House Press Secretary Jay Carney.
He asked for the OMB and his lawyers to take action.
So why didn't he have that action taken before today, though? Because
you have to work out a process. Unless you're willing to write the check, Ed. I mean, you know, that it takes some time.
Who would write that check?
It takes some time to. And are you suggesting we don't, Ed?
I'm saying there are people who care about it who want to get it done quickly.
And it's getting done.
The president saying he's doing it today. Why won't you tell us what day he learned? Was it yesterday, the day before?
Ed, what I can tell you is when the president, and when the president found out, he was disturbed and he asked his lawyers and the OMB to get to work on a solution, and we expect a solution today. I mean, this is not that complicated. I know you're trying to make a partisan issue out of it, but
no, nice try.
But Ed,
you won't tell us a simple fact of when the president learned. You're trying to say he's outraged by it, so he wants to move quickly. If he learned last Tuesday,
I'm saying that when he learned about it, he asked for, directed those who work for him to find a solution, and we expect a solution today.
Okay.
Ed Henry joins us live now from the White House with breaking news on this. You never did get Jay Carney to answer that simple question, but you kept working the story. Ed, tell us.
That's right, Megyn. It seems simple. When the president says he's outraged about it through Jay Carney, so when did he learn about it and how quickly did he move on it? What we do know is that on September 27th, the Pentagon comptroller told reporters way back then, a few weeks ago, that if the government shut down on October 1st, they would not be able to pay out these death benefits. Nobody is suggesting the president was briefed way back then, but I did some more digging tonight, and inside the administration, people are saying unofficially that aides around here knew about this a few days ago. Now, how quickly that filtered to the president, we still don't know. They haven't answered that question. But if the president knew about it 2-3 days ago, that would suggest maybe it would be politically embarrassing for them if they were to say that he knew back then but didn't actually move quickly to issue an executive order or whatever may be the case. The bottom line, though, is Jay Carney did tell me, we should say in fairness, that there's one way to solve this. There's one way to deal with the death benefits, to reopen the World War II Memorial, Grand Canyon, you name it. And that, in Jay Carney's words, is for the Republicans to reopen the government. So that battle, obviously, tonight still goes on, Megyn.
Ed Henry, good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, as the Obama administration points fingers, one group has stepped in to do what our government would not, offering to pay the families of our fallen troops the full benefits they are due, they were promised, as long as this shutdown lasts. The CEO and chairman of that organization joins me now, Ken Fisher of the Fisher House Foundation. And good for you, sir. Thank you very much for doing what our government refused to do. Now, today, we find out that you stepped in, that they're going to give you an IOU. You saved Chuck Hagel, and you really helped these families out. The Department of Defense has the largest budget in the government, They're still funding their golf courses. But this, they couldn't find a way to do it, Ken. Your thoughts?
Megyn, this is a national disgrace, and there's no other way to put it. What we did today was step in because these families have suffered enough. They've lost a loved one. They shouldn't have to worry about where their next dollar is coming from. Mm-hmm. These families are America's families. You know, when their loved one raised their right hand and took an oath that oath was two ways. They were going to defend this nation with their lives if necessary. If they came back wounded, we as America had to make sure that they were healed, whether mental or physical. If they lost their lives in doing so, it was up to us to take care of their loved ones.
That was the promise. Special Agent Joseph Peters is one of those who was killed over the weekend. His wife came out and said, and I quote, "My husband always said if something happened to him, we would be taken care of." Not only was the government not prepared to take care of this man's child and wife, as they promised him they would if he went to fight for our country, but they were content apparently to sit back and let it pass, Ken. That they claim now that they're disgusted, but I want to ask you, did they come to you and say, "Ken, can you help us out," or did you go to them? How did it happen?
When we learned about the situation, we basically mobilized without hesitation. We called our board members. There was no hesitation with them approving what we wanted to do, which was step in and take over for the government in this capacity.
Did you volunteer it, or did they call you and ask you for it?
Well, I got a call from Senator Manchin from West Virginia, who asked if we would be willing to help. And of course, there was no other answer. But yes, every decision should be that easy.
When did you get that call?
That call came yesterday morning.
Yesterday.
Yes.
And Ed Henry saying that the administration, that the White House officials knew at least a few days ago. So questions still remain. The defense secretary says he's outraged and embarrassed, but there are still questions about how he got into this position. And nothing was done for days. Ken, thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
In the midst of this PR nightmare tonight, we are learning that the president's approval numbers are plunging. According to a new Associated Press poll, just 37% approve of the job the president is now doing. 53% disapprove. Britt Hume is our Fox News senior political analyst. And Britt, as far as we can tell, this approval number at 37% is the lowest at any point during his presidency. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's right, Megan. And it's the lowest in any poll right now. And I wouldn't be surprised to learn that as more polling is done, that number is a little low. Nonetheless, it's unmistakably clear that this whole situation with the government shut down and all has hurt the president's standing.
What is doing it? Because, listen, this just broke, yesterday and came to the forefront, but it seems to play in a narrative that's already emerged, which is, as some park rangers are alleging, they're claiming that they've been told to inflict maximum pain to make this shutdown as painful as possible, they believe, for political purposes. That narrative is emerging. What we saw with the World War II vets being shut out of their memorial. Now the death benefits can't get paid, even though top administration officials have known at various points about it. One by one, we're learning more facts that are raising eyebrows for some.
It does remind you of what happened when the sequester hit. Remember that, Megan, and the White House tours were shut down and how badly that backfired? One might have thought that the president and his team would have recognized as this situation approached that with the public's habit of blaming Republicans for government shutdowns, Republicans are, after all, the party that is less enthusiastic about government, that they would handle it with some care and try to ameliorate the effects. They appear to have done, at least in some cases, the national parks being a conspicuous example, is to make the effects as felt as much as possible. That has backfired, unquestionably. I mean, the sight of those veterans crashing the barriers for an outdoor memorial, an outdoor open-air memorial, was one of the first things we saw as the government closed down.
Right.
And since then, we've heard about a couple that lives on government land in a house they own out in Nevada being evicted from their property, people locked up in the park and out west. I mean, this has not gone well, and it has looked like the administration is trying to inflict maximum harm. In addition to that, Megan, is the fact that the House, which I think is still in a tight spot, and which in a sense started this with the defund strategy that was urged on certain House members, has been pretty agile since. Think about it, Megan. They've passed a whole series of measures to open parts of the government. The Senate is refusing to act on any of them, and the president has promised to veto them. Well, what kind of an impression does that leave? So I think
even on this, the Senate, according to senior sources, told Fox News the Senate was not going to vote to approve these death benefits that the House unanimously approved today. And then Ken Fisher came to their rescue. I mean, they must be thanking the high heavens for Ken Fisher tonight.
Well, I think there's a sense in the Democratic Party, based on past experience, that Republicans are going to get the blame for this and will be weakened as a party going into 2014 when the president finally hopes that he will never again have to worry about negotiating with Republicans or dealing with them again, that he will have control again of both houses of the Congress and will be able to work his will. It doesn't seem to be turning out that way, which is not to say, Megyn, that Republicans aren't getting the lion's share of the blame. Every poll that I've seen shows that they are.
We have the latest poll. 62% blame them, 49% blame President Obama, the Democrats.
But the important thing to know is that the margin is not nearly as great as it was in the shutdown that I covered back in '95 and '96, when the spread between the two parties, President Clinton and the Democrats and the Republicans, was about 25 points in a number of polls. So this has not gone nearly as badly for the Republicans as it might have, and as I think Democrats and the president expected it would.
And now, is there do you sense consternation on the part of the administration officials? And I point to, with all due respect to the Defense Secretary, Britt, the fact that he showed up at Dover Air Force Base today, which was the first time in his 7-month tenure in this job. Over 100 have died. 113 troops have died in Afghanistan since he took the post. It was the first time he showed up. And the question is whether that was out of a concern about PR.
Well, I would imagine it was, Megyn. I mean, I can't read his mind. I don't know what he was thinking, but it's probably not a coincidence that he showed up this time and not all the previous times. And, you know, he's kind of a bumbling figure in the eyes of many in Washington, and it's sort of an easy target. But it fits into this pattern that the administration has been crude and kind of clumsy in their handling of all these things, and has felt that if they just let these things hit as hard as they can, that the Republicans will be blamed and they'll win. And they're not winning the way they thought they would.
No, they're certainly not. Britt, thanks so much for being here.
You bet.
Great to see you. We heard Ed Henry break the news moments ago that the White House knew for days about this death benefit debacle. So why didn't the White House just come out and admit that when Ed was pressing Jay Carney? Former White House senior advisor Karl Rove, just ahead.